I go first?
No, you go ahead, Donna.
We met on the campus at UC Berkeley in 1963. So we were there right at the start of the free speech movement. Ian was a doctoral student and I was a master's level student. And our favorite story is that I was coming out of what's called Tolman Hall. I'd come out from a psychology class and come out of the building, and then they were doing the sidewalks. So they had everything, taped off, and you had to follow a particular maze to get through. A young man walked up beside me and said, "This is quite an obstacle course, isn't it?" And I thought that was his most profound line, because we've been together for 55 years this December, and sometimes it's been an obstacle course, but it's always been a course that's been steered with love.
Well, we had gone out for, God, how long was it? 6 months or so?
Not very long.
Not very long.
Long before we knew.
Before we knew, yeah.
'Cause
We just hit it off.
We became exclusive to each other pretty fast.
The way I proposed is I went back to University of Pittsburgh for a job interview. It turned out to be my first job. And I came back and I was mulling it over. And the way I proposed to Donna in the car one night, and I said, "I don't want to go to Pittsburgh without you." And Donna said, "Are you asking me what I think you're asking?" I said, in a squeaky voice, I said, "Yes."
Did you have a ring?
No, we were too
so poor.
Yeah.
No, we had nothing, but absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
From either one of our families.
Nothing.
But we made it all on our own. We did buy our first rings in Sausalito. And
Yeah, we bought wedding rings, but there were no engagement rings.
We couldn't afford that.
Got an engagement ring in about 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go back to the beginning and tell you, coming out of Tolman Hall, which, by the way, they've just torn down.
Yeah.
As we were walking across campus, it was the 60s, and, engineers were taking classes there. And I had been an English and history major and undergraduate in the East Coast. And I thought, engineers are not for me. I'm an English major. By the time we got to the middle of the campus, Ian was reciting poetry to me that he knew by heart. And I kind of stopped and said, this is not the typical engineer.
I asked Donna to have coffee, but she couldn't. You gave me your telephone number, and I think I called the very next night.
The very next night. I was living in a boarding house in Berkeley.
We went to a movie and just hit it off. I think I carried the poem with me. It was by Walt Whitman, and I can't remember it, but it was the
child went forth.
Child went forth, and the first thing he saw every day, that thing he became, something like that. And it always struck me, because that's what I did. I went forth. Actually, I came out of a graduate statistics class, and I was just lounging, sitting there with some guys, and this nice-looking girl walks by, and I don't know what, impulse.
Yeah. This is a shy man, and yet there was something that compelled him to walk up to a complete stranger and start a conversation. We still puzzle over what on earth was it. One of my mantras has always been, there's a master plan. And somehow the master plan, put us together, and we've had an amazing life together.
I don't know how long I'd broken up with a girlfriend before, 6 months or something, and I see this bodacious girl walk by, and just, why not? I didn't know what else to say except this is an obstacle course. Hadn't thought any great line or anything.
That's a pretty good line, though.
It's a pretty
isn't
good
it?
pickup line.
Pretty good pickup line, yeah.
And I didn't even think of it as a pickup line.
No, it was
you
just a
didn't.
comment, but you felt compelled to say it to something. Okay.
Felt compelled to say it, yeah.
People ask us that all the time, if you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And what we always tell people, and it isn't a secret, don't give up. Times get tough. Take a step back. Maybe walk away from each other for a while. But don't give up. I never went home to my mother. He never packed up and went away. But, we had some tough times.
But deeper
We didn't
than
give
that,
up.
is
Good advice.
we had a lot of common interests. I mean, Donna does children media, but I learned child development, and I do something entirely different. But we've had great conversations lately, talking about how bad the news is, and it's horrible. About as bad as I've ever seen it in our lifetime. That we turn off the TV and just sit in our kitchen, and we talk.
Yeah.
We have great.
And we try to help each other, with this tough time that
I
the
talk about the
world
books
is
I'm
going
writing.
through.
Yeah.
I talk about what Donna's doing with her children's media, and we both have been very involved. We've learned from one another. So if you want to say the secret yet, don't give up. But also the other thing is that go get your head
Get
screwed
help.
on. Go
That's
get
the
help.
other thing we would say.
Go get therapy. Go
You know.
get couples therapy, individual therapy. I have
We
no
We've often
patience
say
with people who just don't do anything.
Right.
we often say
people.
that there's nothing more complicated than the human mind. You
Yeah.
wouldn't try to learn statistics without help. Don't think that you can do it just
So
by
the idea of
figuring
the
it
AI
out.
people who want to put chips in your brain just scares the hell out of me.
And we talk about love. We have a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and she was very precious to us. And then 11 and a half years ago, she gave us a grandson.
Right.
And we are the most devoted grandparents.
Ever. I know.
Ever.
Yeah, it's a total different kind
Just-
of love, isn't it?
Oh,
Oh, it's
is.
incredible.
We just have.
This kid is really gifted. He started playing guitar about 3 years ago. He's a gifted guitar player, but he's a good kid.
He
he's been
comes, he
socialized.
spends the night with us, and we cook together,
We
and
cook.
they play music together.
Yeah,
Awesome. I
It's
love it.
it's a new level of love.
he's a great
It is a new
kid.
level of love.
Just a
grandparents.
good kid. In Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, where her daughter was born. And you got to tell the one story about your.
What's launched my career in children's
you have to hear
television
this.
when I met Mr. Rogers. Oh, I got on the elevator. My daughter was 4, watching Mr. Rogers, and I got on the elevator, and there he was.
Oh my gosh.
And he said, "Hi, are you new?" And I was verklempt.
Tongue-tied.
But by the time we got to the top of the elevator shaft, and he said, "Come on by and let's see if we can do something together." I said, "I'm hooked." The group that Donna and I started, we had an evening where we watched that film with about 80 people in our field. We were all sitting there crying.
Yeah, because it's so.
He was
It's
just
he was
amazing.
exactly what you saw.
What you
Yeah,
see is
that's
what you
just-
get.
That's what
I
we
love
need.
that.
Authentic.
That's what you
Authentic.
need. Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
authentic.